In today's episode, Stephanie asks, how should marketers measure the performance of content that is not web pages? This is a very straightforward task that requires you to do two things. First, you have to establish what kind of measure you're going to apply. So anytime you're measuring non-web page interactions, you can create it as a virtual page view, you can create it as an event, you can create it as a goal. Chances are, if it's non-web content on your website, you probably want it to be a goal. For example, downloading a PDF. If someone's downloading a PDF of like a sell sheet on your website, that's probably not a bad thing to have as a goal. The second thing you have to do is create the infrastructure that supports whatever measure you choose using Google Tag Manager. The best, preferred, and most scalable way to track any non-HTML web content online is to use Tag Manager. If you're not, you're just going to create a tremendous amount of extra work for yourself, and it will not scale because you'll have random JavaScript tags scattered all over your website. It's just a bad situation. Don't do it. Use Tag Manager. So let's look at how to do this. One of the things I've been meaning to get around to doing is actually putting an MP3 tracker on the Trust Insights website, because we have a podcast and we have MP3s on the webpage. I would like to know if people are clicking on them and listening to them. I can see the MP3 downloads in the podcast hosting service we use, but it's nice to have everything in one place. So let's take a look at how to do this. Let's flip over to Tag Manager. All right, so in Tag Manager, remember that there are three things that you need. There's a variable, which you should have set up at the beginning of your process, that contains your Google Analytics ID. That way you don't have to keep retyping it over and over again. There are triggers, which is when someone does something, it tells Tag Manager, hey, somebody just did this thing. And Tag Manager says, got it, I'm going to trigger an event. I'm going to launch some kind of task. And then there's the tag, which is what Tag Manager is going to tell something else to do. So in this case, the trigger is going to be a click on an MP3 file, and then the tag is going to be to transmit to Google Analytics, hey, a goal has happened. So let's first go into Google Analytics and set up that goal, because we want this to be a podcast listen. All right, so we're going to go into our admin, we're going to choose our goals, and we're going to create a new goal. We're going to call this MP3 click. Keep it super simple. And this is going to be an event, because remember, it's not HTML content, so we need to have something that tells Google Analytics, hey, this is relevant, but not trackable by the normal methods. So this is going to be the category of MP3, and it's a click. So let's make that click. Do you want to assign a value to it? In this case, I don't know that we want to assign a value to the podcast just yet. So we're going to go ahead and just save it as is. MP3 is the category. Click is the label. Let's go back now into Tag Manager. And in Tag Manager, we're now going to set up that trigger. Let's go ahead and set up the trigger. We'll call this MP3 click trigger. This is going to be a click on a type of link, and some kind of links, and the click URL, which is what we're working with, contains .mp3, and you may want to switch that to matches. Actually, no, let's do it contains, because otherwise the dot's going to foul things up. So .mp3 is our file extension. This has any link that contains a .mp3 we want to count as a click. Now, if you have MP3s from all sorts of places all over the web that are not yours linked on your website for some reason, maybe you link to somebody else's podcast or something, you might want to add an additional layer that contains the domain or the show name or something on this thing. Same is true for PDFs. If you're linking to external PDFs and you want to track yours, you're going to need to add another layer of filtering that specifies what exactly you want to track. In this case, I'm okay with any MP3, because we don't have that many except our own on the Trust Insights website being tracked. So let's go ahead and save that. And now we're going to set up our tag. Let's go ahead and create a new tag here. MP3 click tag. Again, keep your naming conventions simple. Keep your naming conventions obvious, so that at a glance you know exactly what's going on. Google Analytics, this is going to be an event, because that's what we set up. The category is MP3, and the action is click. Whoops. And now we're going to set up our Google Analytics ID, and we're going to tie it to our MP3 click trigger. So now we've tied things together. We've got the trigger that listens for the click and then tells Google Analytics, do this thing. We'll save that. And now we publish our changes. So that's it. That's the process. From now on, any type of MP3 click that happens, we'll be able to track in our Google Analytics and be able to measure and understand what's going on. And that will be, we've classified it essentially as a conversion here. Now, it doesn't have a dollar value on it. So if you're doing things like advanced attribution analysis, having the dollar value of 0 means that if you're doing attribution analysis on the value of your goals, it will not interfere with that, because if you don't know what the value is of a goal, you don't want to put in a fake value if you've got other real values in place, right? You don't want fake money interfering with the real money. But you do want to measure the impact of different pages or different channels on the overall completions of goals. Are there certain sources, are there certain mediums, are there certain pages on your website that get people to do anything that involves being more engaged with you? So really important stuff. Again, you can do this for any external source or any non-web content. So MP3s, PDFs. If you have Word documents on your website, you really shouldn't, but if you happen to have them there, you would want to track something like that. Downloads, zip files, archives, anything that's non-web content, this is the method you use. Also, this is the method that you will use if you are tracking things that you don't have control over. So on my personal website, I track clicks to my Amazon purchases, or to my Amazon listings, like my books, because I don't have control over Amazon, but I can measure how much traffic I send to it directly, and I can measure how many sales I make through the Kindle Direct portal for authors, and at least get an inferred value of, like, what is the value of traffic that I send to Amazon. So these are different ways you can track things that you don't have control over or that are not standard content within Google Analytics. It is a very powerful tool. It is very, very powerful. You just have to gain experience in configuring it so that it does exactly what you want it to do. As always, if you have comments, leave them in the comments below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. We'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.